So let's talk about gathering evidence. One of the most common questions that we receive is, what is the difference between an artifact and evidence? And I think the clearest way to explain that is that artifacts are individual items that you'd submit. Evidence is a collection of those artifacts that come together to tell the story of your proficiency. So for example, evidence could include proof of attendance at a professional development workshop on differentiation, a one-page written reflection of that professional development experience, and then an amended lesson plan annotated that was updated to reflect what was learned at the professional development workshop. So those three artifacts, the proof of the attendance, the one-page written reflection, and then the amended lesson plan, those are three artifacts that come together as evidence to tell a story. I attended some PD, I thought about it a lot, and I made some changes in my practice. That comes together as evidence. So when we say, how much evidence do you need? How many artifacts do you need? The question really comes down to this. I'll bring us back to the main idea here that we are operating under the highlighted areas of the rubric. So a very common question that I receive is, do I need one piece of evidence for every highlighted area? The answer is no, but it is true that you need enough pieces of evidence so that all of these highlighted areas are touched upon. So the answer to the question, do I need a one-to-one match for everything? No, you don't. What you do need is enough evidence so that all of these areas are fully covered. So for those submitting a formative evaluation, we are recommending that you have evidence of progress toward your professional practice goal, that you submit evidence of progress toward your student learning goal, and that you submit 3 to 5 pieces of evidence that would touch upon most of these standards, knowing that you also have a second year in which to provide 3 to 5 additional pieces of evidence. So what are we looking for in that summative evaluation? For those on a one-year plan, either at the end of the year, or for those of you on 2-year plans at the end of year 2, we're really looking for 6, 7, 8 pieces of evidence that would tell your story of proficiency against the rubric, as well as an updated evidence of progress towards your student learning goal and your professional practice goal. So for example, you might have an artifact that represents professional learning growth, the example that we used earlier, attendance at a conference, so it touches on this standard for element B1. It might also show a little bit about well-structured lessons, and it might have something else to speak to a variety of assessment measures. For example, because you attended professional development on differentiation, that one piece of evidence touches on multiple highlighted elements. Just to be clear, we also have shared with you the teacher rubric here, so you can go in very easily and see the rubric here with the highlighted areas in yellow, so you can, again, read what proficiency is. We have we've got links to the artifact cover page. This is the page that would tell the story for you this is like the cover sheet for the artifacts. We also have the evidence collection form, which allows you to provide a summary of the evidence in this box here. We have some examples of artifacts by standard. So these are just some examples. This is a brainstorm list that we borrowed from another district of just some ideas for what artifacts could exist for those different standards. So again, if you were to click on over here on the educator evaluation forms, remember that there are many different forms here that are here to help you out. One of these things that should be very helpful through this process is looking at this annotated example of a North Reading educator. This person is Mr. Jones. He's fictitious, but this brings you through Mr. Jones' formative cycle, and it's completely annotated. The first 2 pages is the annotations, and what it does is it shows you everything from his SMART goals through his educator plan form and his action steps, and brings you all the way through some of the goals that were submitted, evidence towards the learning goals, evidence towards the professional practice goal, and also some other evidence against the rubric. There's also a copy of the reflective feedback that was provided, which is included in this portfolio, as well as a copy of the formative evaluation report completed by the supervising evaluator. So this is meant for you to understand exactly what should be expected from you and what you should expect from the evaluator in this process. So that's a helpful tool as well. On the Gathering Evidence site itself, as well as on this forms page, there are links to the actual forms for the artifact cover and the evidence collection form. One note, if you want to be able to type in this form, you want to come over here and click download and download it as a Word document. If you just click on the document, what will happen is it will open, and it will open up in Google Viewer, and it won't allow you to edit the document. So clicking on it will allow you to preview it, but what you're going to want to do is come over and click on the download button, which will download it to your desktop, and then you can interact and type directly into that document. You can then upload that Word document directly into Google folders. There's some other videos on that, and you can share those documents with your supervising evaluator, or of course you can print that document out and share it in a paper copy.